anytime.
Going to the presidential level now, the APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu has met with the party's governorship and National Assembly candidates in the forthcoming elections.
This is a meeting that the leaders have called to get us really prepared, to get us properly inclined to what we are supposed to expect and what we are supposed to do when the elections are about 40 days or so. And everyone has to be sensitive, everyone has to be in the right frame of mind to pursue the project in line with what is enshrined in the Constitution and the Electoral Act. And from what you can see, there is tremendous amount of motivation in the members of the party. There is so much synergy in the ways and manner we are talking toward this election. I can see from the result of this meeting that this election will be a huge success for APC at all levels.
Meanwhile, the Presidential Campaign Council of the All Progressives Congress APC on Monday called for the prosecution of the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, over what it called weighty corruption allegations against the former vice president.
We want to make the point that Atiku does not enjoy immunity simply because he is a presidential candidate. And we're saying this because we understand that the law enforcement agencies may be reluctant to act simply because of the perception of persecution of a presidential candidate that this may evoke. However, facts are sacred. The facts so far presented to the world clearly indicate that Atiku Abubakar has a case to answer. He has an explanation to make. I am going to court myself. Apart from the PCC decision on this, I have written to them and the letters are there, distributed to all of them. 3 law enforcement, they are giving them an ultimatum. I will proceed to court to ask for disqualification of Atiku Abubakar. He is not fit to run for the highest office of the land. We are calling the law enforcement agencies to do the needful. So in their own investigations, anybody that is related or linked to this would also be apprehended. But the law is no respecter of anybody. The safety of the whistleblower is at stake. Nothing must happen to this man.
The People's Democratic Party has since responded to that allegation, saying its presidential candidate has been investigated several times and has not been convicted of the crimes being put forward. Meanwhile, the party says it will continue to promote and encourage a violence-free campaign while appealing to Nigerians to give it another shot at the center.
This media briefing by the PDP spokesperson Debo Ologuagba is centered on 2 key issues: recommitting to non-violence and issue-based campaigns, and reaffirming the stance of the party's candidate for the Borno Central Senatorial District.
Supposed to win the majority of votes across the country and secure 25% in all of the federation to elect the president at the first ballot.
On the Borno Central Senatorial District election, the party urged members to disregard information towards not having a candidate for the election.
A candidate for the Borno Central election alone, Honorable Mohammed Omaya, as self-confirmed in the list of candidates for the 2023 election as published by INEC.
Meanwhile, members of the United Nigeria Movement, a political association, have resolved to queue behind the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, as its sole candidate for the February 25, 2023 election.
We are supporting him. He is the only candidate who has what it takes to pull Nigeria out of the doldrums. The United Nigeria Movement will remain by his side and offer our full support in any possible way.
The movement explained that their decision followed a nationwide consultation of members who promised to take their campaign for Atiku to the grassroots.
With less than 40 days to the first weekend of the 2 key elections in Nigeria, the presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, has appealed to candidates on the party's platform to return to their states and canvass for votes to ensure NNPP's victory. He was speaking at his party's North Central Presidential Campaign rally in Lafia, Nasarawa State.
New Nigeria People's Party's Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso arrived in the Lafayette Square to the adoration of party supporters. The North Central campaign focused on improving the nation's educational system, tackling insecurity by providing more security personnel, and adopting new ways of solving conflicts. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, who was once the health man in Kano State, assured Nigerians that if elected, his government will not only provide peaceful atmosphere for the country to thrive, but ensure dividends of democracy cascades down to the people.
If we have the opportunity to governor of Nasarawa State, we are going to make the education from primary to secondary free.
Candidates vying for various positions in North Central under the NNPP were presented with flags. While in Nasarawa State, the presidential candidate paid homage to the royal fathers of Karu, New Karshi, Nasarawa, and Lafayette Emirates, where he solicited support.
The Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi was recently at Chatham House, the famous British International Policy Institute. Obi fielded questions after his paper, which dwelled on dismantling the structures of criminality while promoting competence and character to ensure talents and ideas flourish.
When you fight and stop corruption. Yeah. The first thing about stopping corruption is yourself. If you're not involved, your wife is not involved, your family is not involved, those around you are not involved, you will reach it by over 50%. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm sure Paul will know that. We are committed. We can't disappoint this youth. We must build a new Nigeria. And we'll deal with that. Investors will come back. Those who left, even the young people who are today living, they'll come back. We want to bring them back. This green passport, people must be proud to use it.
And lastly, the People's Redemption Party, PRP, and the African Action Congress have signed an alliance document. Let's get the details.
AAC and PRP are two parties, however, with similar ideology of improving the lives of the masses. They come together to support a sole candidate of the AAC, Omoyele Sowore, to salvage the country from the challenges hindering its progress. The presidential candidate and other stalwarts from the two parties who agreed to work for a common goal assured of a new Nigeria if elected into office in the next month election.
We would bring to bear on this country renewable power, electricity, energy, to develop the agricultural sector and invest massively in infrastructure and ensure that this country takes its place among the community of nations on the continent of Africa, and eventually this country, Nigeria, will become the pride of Black Africa.
This alliance actually reflects the dream of Nigeria. I am old, I'm intelligent, well. ANC is young, he needs my support. I will just advise him, show him the right way, and I'm sure he will listen because he is a candidate for the party.
The two parties enjoin their members to support their respective candidates in other elected positions.
That concludes Political Update for today. We'll be back fresh and early on Friday for another fresh package. Don't forget TikTok, pick your PVCs, and time is running very fast, and very shortly we'll be heading to the very first of the two key election dates. And keep it locked with the Nigerian Television Authority, Africa's finest and largest, for the best of political news, reviews, previews, and interviews. My name is Fisal Mufid, urging you to continue to stay with us and play your politics for the greater good. Bye-bye now.
Here's the start. Archbishop of basketball. He hung on that net like a stalk up a tree.
NTA Sports 24 brings you all sports, all time and all day. Tune in to watch NTA Sports 24 on Star Times Channel 270, Star Sat on Channel 434, and Free TV on Channel 731. NTA Sports 24, where sports thrive.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Welcome to Today's Style, your weekly survey of style and culture from around the globe. I'm your host, Ebere Okafo. I'll be talking on an eye-opening experience, touching on fashion, beauty, and some special surprises along the way. Stay with us. It's not very often we get to see the hard work and creativity that goes into the fashion collections we see on the runway. Find out on the behind the scenes of a capsule collection titled Neo Kawaida.
We just want to showcase the beauty of our culture and our attire. And also, this collaboration is about us showing our crafts. I'm an Afrocentric fashion designer. My designs are always surrounded around African cultural heritage. So on this one, we have what I call the urban casual and the African queen. So we have 3 designs we are showcasing today. We have the Ankara jacket, but not the usual Ankara jacket we know. And also we have the poncho hoodie, which is very urban. And then we have the African princess attire, bridal jacket on it. It's beaded with the crystal beads, multicolors, and also with some dripping fringes, all hand beaded. The poncho is actually a unisex design I come up with, because usually we have poncho for European weather and very thick. But at this very moment, I made a poncho to suit our weather, not very thick, but very stylish and something very unique. But this is my very first new design for the female poncho, which come like a free dress and long sleeve with a hood that cover on it. Very okay for the weather, and both here and abroad. It's something you can just throw on and then you move anywhere casually. And the jackets also, it's not just a normal corporate jacket, but with just a very little drama, and also showcasing the colorful beauty of our fabric, Ankara.
We've been at this collaboration with Kawaida for a while. We showcase the African style, the African fashion. Before he brings out an outfit, he already has a vision in mind, so he just relates that vision with me. And then, even with the lighting and everything, if you can't convey the vision well, forget about it. So he makes it easier. So we just meet. We try to project what he has in his head to pictures.
Africa is doing the unusual. The world is starting to appreciate Africa, appreciate our fabrics, and appreciate everything that we do. So we're trying to, be out there because we're always standing out in everything that we do. So we're trying to push ourselves and see how we can come together to make sure that we put our style, our culture, our fabrics out there.
Now it's time for the business of style. Our guest has a long history with indigenous fabrics. He will be showing us some of his exciting concepts of interior designs. Also, together we'll examine the legacy of cultural fabrics threatened by cheap imports. Let's take a look.
I would like to be remembered for the guy who lived with his African culture, who believed so much about the culture and promoted it. My name is Muiwa Togun. I'm the creative director and CEO of Royal Urban Collection, and I'm in the business of style. It's important for me to do what I'm doing and promoting and preserving our culture, Nigerian culture, African culture through storytelling by creating different pieces of textile art and telling story through this, because it is important that we keep our culture. Yeah, you don't want if you don't keep and promote your culture, then they will sell anything to you and then you accept, and then when you do that you lose your identity. You don't know who you are. So it is important that you know who you are. That's the power that you have. That's your self-confidence. And then by the time you lose that by not promoting what you are but believing in what you create, because you believe something foreign or imported is better, so you're not only killing your self-confidence, you're also killing the economy of where you are at the same time, because every naira that should have stayed here in the hands of the local vendors to help the economy grow and circulate within the country, you keep taking it out to buy something more expensive but has no value. But what they have successfully done is to make you forget about your rich culture and sell anything to you. So we don't want that to happen. Somebody has to do it. Somebody like us has to keep the culture going, not just by preserving it, because if we just preserve it to ourselves, we don't promote it, nobody's seeing it. So we're not only preserving it by practicing, and when you see these patterns and then you understand the meanings, it kind of keeps you connected to your history. Yeah, and I think it is important that we all return to our history. It means a lot. They are not just dots and lines you're making, you're telling stories. I feel like it is important that I leave a legacy behind that stays, that outlives me. So then at that time I decided to start teaching people, and then with that it is like transferring my knowledge. So as it is now, I'm not the only one who know about this. Everybody that I've taught so far now know about textile making art, and not just making textile, also about the history. And by doing so, it's the culture, it's getting more exposure, and then that's sustainability. So a lot of people, after learning, they practice this and then they move on from there. You know, when you're proud of your culture, you want to showcase it to the world. I'm proud of my culture, I'm proud of where I'm from. And I feel like it is not meant to be something that I wear once a year or occasionally only when I have big events. So that was why I was able to incorporate it to everyday lifestyle. So the whole idea is just to let people know that it's not just limited to fashion. Whatever you do, there's a way you can always promote your art and culture. So that's why we're able to do that. For me, I can, if I'm not wearing my style, I have a phone, I'm carrying a pouch or something representing me. I'm wearing a shoe that I've designed in such a way that promotes Yoruba or African culture as well. So I think it is important to incorporate this into your everyday lifestyle. And then with that, you're selling the culture more. I don't have to introduce myself or what I do to people when I meet them or when they meet me, because I live the lifestyle already. See, for example, where we are now, I've received a lot of contact just because I made the culture and people loved what they saw. So all they had to do, oh, who did this for you? We like this, we love this in our office or in our space and everything. They got my contact and they feel called for me. So at the end of the day, I'm not going out there to tell a bunch of people what I do. But what I've done in the past or what I'm doing right now is what make people want to start a conversation and get to know me and what I do. You need to create a niche for yourself. When you do so, at the end of the day, then that means you've got all you need to make your business grow and consistent. So the truth of the matter is that people, a certain number of people will always go for generic or prints, and there are some certain number of people that cannot do that. Those are your customers. And then while doing so, while you focus on your customers, you want to also encourage other people who may have, probably because they don't have the knowledge or the information about their culture, or because they have already accepted what the Western world has thrown at us, that okay, this is what is supposedly good. You get what I'm saying? This is better than your culture. Then you need to it's about sensitization. I think people need some form of reorientation to let them accept what is theirs, which is the genuine thing, not what people sold to you. When people even understand that one of the top brands they go for abroad, they get their leather supply from Nigeria, then you will consider buying made in Nigeria bag before buying foreign. If that makes sense. I don't want to mention any brand here, but a very big brand we all know. You spend top dollars or pounds to buy their products, but they buy all their leathers. The majority of their leather products from here, from Nigeria. Ship it there, ship it back to you, and then you want to spend top dollars. But somebody uses the same leather to create something beautiful and well done here, but just because you know it's made in Nigeria, you feel it's substandard. We all have work to do in this aspect. We all need to appreciate our culture, appreciate our environment, appreciate our local vendors, because they put a lot of effort to making things happen, considering the environment we have. With all odds, try to make things happen. So we need to support each other, believe in our products. I want to leave a legacy where you believe in yourself. I'm that guy. When you remember me, you are Togo, you know that there's a reason for me to believe in my culture or where I come from.
You are still watching Today's Style. Up next is a very special part of the show where we catch up with rising icons of the fashion and beauty industry. We'll be sitting with a newly crowned pageant queen. But before we do, we'll open up our beauty box to share some tips of natural hair. Basically, what I use is shea butter, honey, and a little bit of lemon. So mix it together and rub in.
Spray your bonnets, make sure you use leave-in conditioners, make sure you use at least castor oil, Moroccan oil, argan oil. Argan oil is amazing, it does wonders for your hair. Always don't be shy to trim your ends from time to time, because split ends are demonic and they would chop off your hair.
I always preach love, patience and consistency, because we are not in the space where you say you start using this product and in 3 weeks or 2 weeks you have long hair. No, in the natural hair dome you have to do the work, you have to put in the work. So you eat healthy, you drink healthy, and you take care of your hair. You need to have a consistent regime, okay, that you follow, and pamper your hair. For goodness sakes, our natural hair craves our love. Most of us are not patient with our hair. We're not even patient with attending to our hair. So the thing is, we have to be patient enough, to allow this hair grow out from the follicles, and we should be ready to put in the work.
What I actually would advise, you should be careful of heat, and you always remember to take your vitamins, because taking my vitamin really make my hair grow well. Use shea butter, deep condition of your hair. Make sure you wash it very well. Some people just wash it, they don't know that there is still dirt in there. So if you are able to do all this, your hair is going to be luxurious, it's going to look good, it's going to be shining. Yeah,
basically I wash at least twice in a month, detangle properly, then trim your ends. It's important to trim your ends. If you don't trim your ends, you won't see new growth. Okay, and then nourish your hair as well, moisturize. the weather is dry, so you have to always keep your hair moisturized. That way the growth will flourish.
You need to be patient, moisture, especially when you are detangling your hair, because that is when majority of the breakage happens. So when you want to comb your hair, you need to ensure you do it in sections. That is because our hair has this zigzaggy, kinky kind of texture, and they will easily intertwine. So if you put your hair in sections, get your leave-in conditioner, or you can get your hair mist or hairspray, work it from the tip to the roots. Don't do it the way our parents used to do it to me, and especially in those days, take us to the market, yank it from the roots. No, you're gonna ruin your hair. You need to be gentle, work in sections. When you finish from the tip, pull it back and then pick another one. That way you will be able to retain length, because your hair is always growing, but you are ripping it off during the combing process.
Being intentional about moisture, not necessarily using too much heat, ensuring that I'm protecting it, and cleaning my scalp regularly, because my scalp is super sensitive.
Natural herbs and bunu and okra, actually. Like okra I used to do soup, yes, I use it to create curl pattern. It actually helps with, if you blend okra with a bit of water and essential oils.
Did you hear that? Okra.
Yeah.
Okay, please.
Yeah, okra, it actually helps to create waves in your hair and get your natural curl pattern back. Yeah.
I realized that it's actually a passion for me, a call right from childhood, imparting positivity into the masses, into people, into the nation. Joining the pageants, it's actually an eye-opener for me. It's quite challenging though, but I learned a lot being there. We all have team time, well, I don't use artificial things. I use more of natural things. To my face, I use raw egg, like the egg yolk, to exfoliate my skin, my face, and I use
Let me just thank Tina for making me proud, because she did amazingly well. Because it's not just so the client and the client ladies effect because you make it have a story behind it. So looking at it, it's a well-bought dress that has different illustration on the body. So I got the idea of making and costume. I made the material from material, that's the normal material that I use for the material. Then I use calories, which signify only money they use. So I also get that's representing the whole African culture. Then I also use what's it called? A Benin headed masquerade. That signifies the Benin part of Nigeria, because Benin are like the best food that has cultural things in Nigeria. So I use a veil to cover her face, referring to the western part of Nigeria, that is Yorubas. Because most time when they go for marriage, they cover their hair and something. Then on the dress, it's looking like an onyonyo. Onyonyo is a Calabar outfit for marriage. So I have to get like Efik costume, Igbo attire, Benin, and Yoruba to join it together. Then there is a hostel I gave her, which hostage I have seen Yoruba people using it, outside using it, Igbo. So I have to just get it to make sure that I get every part of Nigerian culture inside one costume. I want to make outfits. I won't see people wearing that same thing. Like even in the competition, I like going out of the world. It's something very unique. I didn't decide to get net play on the body just to make it different from other. Then coming to my makeup, I have this signature of lipstick and then brows.
When you have passion for something, no matter the challenges or whatever obstruction that comes along, you will overlook it and keep pushing on. For me, because it's a passion for me, And at the same time, it helped me to work on myself. We all will have our shortcomings. When it comes to the other aspect of my life, each time I see myself contesting or competing with others or being in a confined space with everybody, different people from different states, it gives me the room for me to compare myself, work on my personality, it's very competitive. So you have to be the best, come for the best. At that time, you realize that there are some potentials you have in you that are hidden. So it's actually an added advantage for you. So I would advise people out there to come out, and contest. See them, they should put themselves, like they should see themselves doing some things that they have not done before. Pageantry is actually is also an avenue for you to project whatever view you have for the nation, for your community. See myself as a model. I realize that because I know that naturally I'm a giver, and see myself as a model. I used it as a platform to touch life positively. I get to reach out to people, especially when it comes to domestic violence, which is one of the most serious problems we are facing today. Our women are facing today. So with this, it helped me to project and reach out to people to create massive awareness, on the steps or precautionary measures to put in place to avoid that from taking effect.
Art is undoubtedly an important element of design, and it's more significant when it showcases elements of culture. Let's take a look at an interesting commentary on Nigerian fabrics titled Ili.
Textile is universal. Wherever you go in the world, you see people with different types of textile. The techniques, the mode of presentation and all of that is different across the world. But particularly in Africa and Nigeria, our textile is not just to cover the skin. Sometimes it's also about communicating. So we have textile, as a symbol of our culture. Nigeria has depth when it comes to arts. We believe that as a country, our indigenous language or languages, it's important in our daily communication. So Ili is a name that says clothes. The model and the fabrics and the art on their body. Well, we decided to put those arts on the body just so that the body is not bare, and also that the body which we cover with clothes is also part of the clothes, and the clothes is part of the body, an extension of the body. So the symbols you see is to communicate that synergy. Now, when we started, we had this idea of, okay, we're going to cover the entire country, and if possible, expand it to some other parts of Africa to see whether we can find similarities between what we do here in Nigeria and what is done elsewhere. So, but when we started this project, we discovered that hand-woven material is not only unique to Southwest Nigeria, where you have Ashoke. We also have hand-woven material coming from the eastern part of Nigeria, coming from the northern part of Nigeria, coming from the south-south. So, in a way, you find that across the country. Wherever you go, tie and dye is found almost everywhere. You go to Kano, you find tie and dye. You go to the southwest, you find tie and dye. But particularly in the southwest, Adire is more prominent. And from the southwest, is going to almost every part of the world. Then we also have the Goma, the one from Kosovo, the ethnic attire. Then you have the one from Abuja here, the Bari people. Then you have the one from Edo. You have the one from the eastern part of Nigeria, the Okocha and all of them. So we have every part of Nigeria represented in this project. Nigerian culture is something I've always been very, very interested in. I hope to be able to communicate to the audience that we have a very rich culture. Our culture is very rich, irrespective of which part of the country we come from. I hope to let the audience also understand that there is beauty in our diversity. We also want the audience to understand and appreciate the fact that wherever you come from, there is that interlink between your culture and other people's culture. We also want the audience to understand that our culture is our culture. We need to hold it there and preserve it so that we don't lose it.
As always, it's been great having you all be a part of this show. We'll be back with another rich experience. Same time next week. Bye!
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
Did you get to see the way telling about the post this? Don't forget to send in your messages.
There's a difference between picking, child, and issue. Exactly cool. The idea come electoral. That is the and do more with less people. If we have a better way of addressing these issues, taking care of. Congratulations, you were able to sign to move right out from RD Leipzig.
You take water before your workout.
Use that phone. Did you TikTok to do that? A lot of people don't even have resources. You can't even hear the sound of a cockroach.
I'm Cecil, and this is the Medley Show on NTA.
NTA Tuesday Live, analytical, in-depth, educative and interactive on national issues, accommodating all sides of opinions.
We as a people have understood that we have to fight corruption before it fights us back.
Poverty has a financial index, so it should be fought also with a financial weapon. Give it to the social investments program. It has been a very courageous battle.
Tuesday Live, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Join us.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News Mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the You Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app. No access to real-time information.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Happy New Year! It's 2023 to everyone here on Bridges, wishing us a wonderful, prosperous, and productive 2023. Now, to understand what bridges we need to build as we look forward to a very dynamic and productive, wonderful 2023, let's reflect on some of our best outings during the past year. Enjoy it. We are going to be looking at the essence of Christmas. Is this something that we should, as a people, let it resonate in us? Not just in terms of the day of the celebration, but as it is. Let's start from you, Dr. Abolo. Let's look at Mother Earth and see what...
Yes. Thank you so much. This is beautiful in the sense that we need to come to reality with what is happening. Christmas is a time of joy. It's a time of giving, and it's a time of celebration. But let's look at the giving. Receiving empowers you to give. So if something hampers with your ability to receive, how do you give? That's exactly what's happening in the country right now. We went through a period of flood. We went through a period of where we are really worried about our food security. Growing up, Christmas used to be about eating rice and family and enjoying. But now, can the average family afford to buy rice for Christmas? So that's the issue that we are faced with in terms of reality about Christmas. The Christmas itself is still there. But what makes Christmas is what you do to make Christmas what it is.
Okay, what you do, I'll take that from here, from straight for some spiritual food. Yeah. So, Pastor Ezekiel, we're looking at the spirituality of Christmas. He set the ball rolling, sharing, giving. Speak to us about it.
Christmas in the sense of it, just like Doctor said, it's actually part of what we desire should happen. But basically, the essence of Christmas is Jesus Christ, came to the world, to save the world, forgive the sins of men, died, made himself of no reputation, so he can be able to touch the life of another. In fact, not just one person, the entire world. So it's what we're supposed to learn. It's laid precedents, it's laid examples for us to be able to follow.
We're doing that. I mean, because this is Christmas season, can we relate to that in terms of how we live with our neighbors, we live with our brothers, irrespective of what religion or what tribe or what creed you belong to?
I don't think we do that for now.
So that's the bridge to build.
That's the bridge to build. That's the bridge to build.
So you're calling this bridge, what bridge? How would you name it?
Well, I think the bridge is going to be called love.
So we need to build the bridge of love.
Love, yeah.
And when we're talking to love now, how let's talk to our viewers. How do you relate? How do you, because there's a big misunderstanding about love. A lot of people see it about the romance of it, but the living of it is what I want us to talk about.
Okay, now, you see, in love encompasses everything. Forgiveness is in love, peace is in love, joy is in love, patience is in love, faithfulness is in love. I mean, you can count on and on, go on and on, but love is major, because what love does is love makes you look beyond the faults of anyone, whether in this religion or friends or tribe. It makes you look, you ignore so many things, so you can be able to become like the example that has been laid, which is Christ. Now, because Bible says he died for us while we were yet sinners. So it was not when we said, look, we're ready to follow you, else when he died despite our rebellious acts towards him, refusing him. But this is one thing I want to say. Love. The Bible says it covers multitude of sin. A lot of times, if you see, the reason why love seems to be absent today is because you discover that there are hurts. People have been hurt in different ways. People have been mistreated, and several things that becomes very, very difficult to forgive. And so love becomes like a driver. Because once love is there, forgiveness becomes easier. But once there's absence of love,
yes, you're eager to jump into.
Yes, once there's absence of love, then everything falls apart. And if you look at every problem we've had as a nation or on the family level, absence of love. So Christmas reminds us of love, because like the pastor said, God gave first. So there's a very big component about giving for love. And that is why Christmas is characterized by giving.
Christmas is a very important season. As a Catholic and an advocate, Christmas brings to me a very strong message of advocacy. Christmas is a season of salvation, a season of giving and love. And Christ came in a way that was very suspicious. Mary was rejected almost by Joseph. Today we see many young girls who are in similar situation as Mary was. Jesus was adopted by Joseph. So it makes me reflect quite a lot about what we see in our society today and the message of Christmas. So Christmas for us shouldn't be just 25th, which is just a birthday, but it should be every day. We should care for the poor, the less privileged, members of our families who are in their need. We find people in need every day, and in our families, we should start there.
Unfortunately, we are learning now by sound bites, not by investigation and exploration anymore. And so we tend to believe some of the sound bites we hear, as probably where the sound bite, the deputy governor or the vice president is a spare tire. Unfortunately, they are not. And it is easy also to quote what has been said in jurisdictions like the US about their vice president. The role of the US vice president is significantly different from the role of the vice president of Nigeria, or indeed a governor, deputy governor of a state. There are specific constitutional responsibilities that are prescribed for the vice president of Nigeria. One of them is that the vice president of Nigeria is the chairman of the National Economic Council. That involves all the state governors. It involves critical ministers, budget and national planning, petroleum, the Central Bank of Nigeria, who are the advisor of the president on economic matters. So it is important that whoever is to be appointed to the office of the vice president must have first minimum capacity, the capacity to read large volumes of documents, to understand economic policy at the basic, and to speak the language that people in business want. So for me, picking a vice president is not, you're not looking for a spare tire, you are looking for an economic advisor. Because, and is also the chairman of the National Council on Privatization. Again, that's an economic field in terms of policy. He's chairman of the National Boundary Commission, and that includes our local and international boundaries.
And sensitive too.
And very sensitive matter in terms of conflict management, dispute resolution, because land is a matter over which there are lots of conflict within the country. So you are not looking for a spare tire. You are looking for somebody who fits, who has the skill sets to do that job.
Now let's look at the people themselves. Because after all, it's service to the people, like we're attempting to do on this edition of Bridges. Now, how do we promote citizens' participation in governance, especially seeing that there is a trust deficit and disconnect sometimes to leaders and the people they lead?
One of the things I would like to see more is a conversation around our duties. I think our public conversations are focused more about our rights. And I think that those rights have been either trampled upon or held in abeyance, especially during the period of the military. So a lot of attention has now been focused on duties, perhaps to the detriment of focused on rights, to the detriment of duties. But our Constitution clearly prescribed for us as citizens in Section 24 certain specific duties that we are bound to undertake on behalf of our country if we want to enjoy the protection and the benefit that government is obliged to give to us. And those duties include protection of the flag, preservation of the dignity of the flag as a symbol of our sovereign status. Those duties include helping law enforcement agents to apprehend crime by providing them information and whatever support. Those duties include obeying laws made by government. And those duties, more importantly, include the disclosure, full disclosure of our income and payment of tax.
If we have a fasciolar administration that has put some foundation on, and it's foundation for development. Now, how do we ensure continuity? And I'd just like to drop it because I can see that they're giving me signs about time. Also speak to monitoring and evaluation.
It's an interesting thing. You can't guarantee that two sets of personalities will act in the same way.
It might not be priority, but these are potentials.
Now, and this is the interesting thing about democracy. At the heart of it all public officials, whether in a democracy or in an autocracy, are fighting for public attention. So if the public makes it clear to them that this thing is a no-no, no responsible government touches it if they want to retain power. But oftentimes, our voices are very strong on the things that government has not done well. And they are less strong on the things that government has done well. That we are claiming ownership of this, and this is not going to change. And if you dare to touch it, you will see the full impact of our wrath at the poll.
It is not often that women's achievements in Nigeria is celebrated, although women do a whole lot by way of contribution to every sphere of development in our society. Whether it is at the home front, in the farm, marketplaces, roads, and even informal workplaces in the academia, women's roles and duties get ignored or played down most often. 2022 International Women's Day or Women's Month International, however, is a different story. The many achievements of Nigerian women have been acknowledged and celebrated, especially what the United Nations did for our women in Nigeria. A moment, you would say, of pride. Several women achievers were recognized and awarded honors in recognition of their outstanding contributions to the development of women and society. Since we're on a bridge, we always like to build a bridge with this program. Going forward, what is it that we should do right that we haven't done right? Is it about well, I should allow you to answer that question going forward. And I want you to put into perspective the state of the nation today as against the inclusion of women in governance.
I think the fact that we are different, you have a man, you're a woman, the sex difference, should not be an excuse for entrenching discrimination that will work against women. We should see that difference as a political resource that we can all build together. Men will bring their own attributes, women will bring their own, and together we can make a huge progress. But what we've seen is lack of value, not only of a woman's worth, even a woman's work. The fact that women's reproductive role is being used against them and also used as a barrier to put up a roadblock for them to even do productive work that will be rewarded. So when you look at Nigeria, not just in the economy, but in the political system, you find that where the power is, women are not. We're far from it. If you look at representation, you see that there is a huge, in terms of women's political entrepreneurship, if you want to put it that way, there is the outright rate of failure. The failure rate is very high. The women just don't run and win, easily. Even to become a candidate is a problem. And then you see the number we have is 6.4% when you look at both national and state parliament. And if you're looking at indicators for development, for example, the goal 5 of the Sustainable Development Goals of gender, which is advancing gender equality and empowerment of all women and girls. One of the indicators is the number of seats women occupy in the parliament. And you find that it's very low. The representation, if women are not in decision-making positions, if they are not in power, then how can they have control over things, even decisions that affect them? And they are not even on the table where these decisions are taken. They're not even on the
Absolutely. As we round up this edition of Bridges, I'll come back to you as a mother, as a wife, as an academic, and more importantly, women these days, there are some issues that have remained unbroken in spite of the fact that a lot of selling, like you have broken, have come to play. When we speak to young people, they say, oh, your time was better. What was it about our time, your time, that we should bring back in terms of bringing yesterday back to today to make a better tomorrow?
It's about our integrity, compassion. That human compassion is very important. If you're working, in the interest of humanity, we also, that honesty. The ability to build trust and trust people, because there is so much distrust today, even in society, even in the legislature, at all levels. People don't trust, people have hidden agenda, dog eats dog, that kind of approach. These were things in our own time, the value system, the virtues, they were different. People had that feeling, empathy, and they could. These days you find people are just, you wonder, what is it? Where have we lost it? Carelessness, no sympathy for the other. No empathy, and we should have that. All of that transform to something. Even if you're talking of transformational leadership or getting to a level, if you lack that character, and if you're not responsive, to the even needs of people around you, if you're so self-centered and self-conceited, then there is no way you can be able to, advance other interests of others.
Now, let's look at the context of COP26 and looking forward to COP27. What is it? What are the milestones? Do we have a solid bridge that we can build on?
Let me start with, at COP26, we had a very brilliant outing. President
spoke extensively about key global policy issues. Number one, he spoke about the net zero target. While developed nations were targeting 2050 for the net zero, Nigeria was more realistic with the other African countries to have a 2060 net zero target. So
for cleaner energy.
Yes, for cleaner energy. Transition, like you said, to climate resilient development pathways. And then he also made it clear that Nigeria is going to adopt gas as a transition fuel up to the year 2040 towards our net zero target. And he said something that was, the world needed to know. He said Nigeria is more of a gas producing country than an oil producing country, which means that there is need to develop gas intelligence. I call it gas intelligence.
Good one.
Yes. So to develop the gas intelligence means that we need to bring in investors. We need to leverage gas for this transition. So that was a major bridge we built even there on the ground at COP26. Yes. Now, coming back from COP, 3 or 4 days later, the president signed into law the Nigerian Climate Change Bill. So Nigeria has a climate change law, another bridge built there. And now we have an interim DG for the Nigerian Climate Change Council.
So when we're talking of actionable awareness, let's look at things, the fallout of environmental, should I say, disasters, which we have around us. Because if you go around, people still sell their firewood as if nothing is happening. So trees, are getting the brunt of it. The charcoal, anywhere you go, you find it there. So I want us to bring it home to that woman at that level, that rural area, or that man whose livelihood depends on things that that will cause disaster. But of course they make a living from it.
Yes. So that's how I would describe this in a simple term: actioning the awareness. Now there's awareness, but actioning the awareness requires a behavioral change. It requires a transition. But I will tell you, how do you take something away from somebody without giving them alternatives? So what I'm advocating for is, let's increase the value of that waste. Because the waste you see on the street, you think is of no value. When the waste blocks the drainage and the water overflows and the houses are overflown by flood and people are displaced, agriculture is affected, children are displaced from school, you will now know that the value of that waste is really higher than the value of the waste on the street. So that's what I'm advocating for.
Now, seriously, looking at waste as well, like you were trying to give us that picture. Now, how do we harness waste to wealth so that we can at least rid ourselves of all these impediments that will amount to displacement and the general disorder that we have now?
Yes, thank you, Moji, for asking that question. It's quite relevant to our economy, not just to managing climate disasters. There's something called circular economy. Circular economy just means trying to see how much you can use the same material over and over again, and that's waste to wealth. So look at FCT, for example. I have a lot of waste. I went to the dump site 2 years ago. I didn't see waste, I saw value. So what?
You're kidding me.
I saw value.
Yeah.
They called it a waste dump. I said, no, it's a value dump. They attract values there. So the idea is this: let us set up the structure, the technology at the top, and then from the bottom, let's push the awareness and the sensitization. And of course, we need to create the alternatives. Now, let me give you an example. If you increase the value of an empty plastic bottle of water, and say for each empty plastic bottle of water that you return, you'll get paid 20 naira. The beggar on the street will knock on your glass window and say, please just give me the bottle. Because they collect 5 bottles and they have. You go for parties, you'll see that the event organizer say, no, keep your bottles, don't go with your bottles. So you need to be strategic in planning the value addition for the waste. It just does not happen that way. You just need to be strategic, very intentional about it. And now, when you increase the value of the waste, then the value of the waste itself will increase.
What would you be your passing shot? What is it that as a people, as a person, as Moji, what should I be doing to ensure that motherland, the environment, it's made safe for all of us?
Yes, what I'll say to the Nigerian people is this, when climate change impact sets in, it affects everyone. It affects you and I. We may not be at the point of impact, but our loved ones are there. And that's one. Then the extended impacts, like in agriculture, infrastructure, lives and livelihoods, will touch each and every one of us. As a matter of fact, it is projected that if no intervention is done, we are going to have a food security challenge for the next 7 years because of what happened. So I'll say to my fellow Nigerians, it needs a collective effort. Everyone, you need to be very conscious of what you do with your environment. You need to be conscious about what you do with your waste disposal. You need to be very conscious about how you impact the knowledge and hold your neighbors accountable for every action that is going to harm the environment. And then you also need to teach your children on how to care for the environment. That is very important. It may look small, but it goes a long way.
Well, that's all time will permit on Bridges today as we start the year 2023 with hope to build a better and stronger society. It is a collective responsibility, so let's do it together, ensuring that we keep better environment, better health, and more than anything else, to collectively build a better and united Nigeria. See you next week. Thanks for watching.
"24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
Nigeria is the second most recovered industry in the world. When aviation became the fastest growing sector of Nigerian economy, according to MBS, according to Finance Ministry, the fastest growing sector of Nigerian economy pre-COVID, then it became the third fastest growing during COVID. Today, according to ACI, Airports Council International, that we are recovered at 110% of pre-COVID numbers. So it's only Colombia at 115%. We are at 111% recovery. Because what? Because we were proactive and we developed the protocols early enough, ahead of the initial ICAO recovery task force publication. The protocol document was shared with regional and international organizations with positive feedback.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Nigerians in the diaspora, particularly those in the United States of America, have realized the American dream as well as the Nigerian dream. Dr. Yetunde Odugbeson Omede, a first-generation Nigerian American, will be telling us how these dreams have been fulfilled through brain drain to brain gain and more recently brain circulation. And part 2 of our New Year's messages from our diasporas continue as we prepare for the elections. And on hand, we have the Association of Nigerian Physicians in the Americas with our health segment. And of course, we do not forget our diasporan of the moment. This is your favorite program, The Diaspora, and I am your host, Koinsola Adetumbi. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Dr. Yetunde Odugbeson Omede, in her keynote address as a recipient award at the Newark City Hall, New Jersey, says Nigeria has a global human capital waiting to explode. Take a listen.
Nigerians in the diaspora all over the world have been able to be the ambassadors of Nigeria. We have been able to represent the country in tumultuous times. We have been able to rewrite and change some of the narratives that have come out of Nigeria. We answered the call of duty that said in our first national anthem on October 1st, 1960, there was a part that said, "No matter the tribe or tongue, in brotherhood we stand." And we have in the diaspora been able to come together and unify ourselves, understanding that there were various internal and external threats that oftentimes tried to undo the beautiful story of Nigeria. We pulled up our bootstraps. We took some parts of the American dream. We took the culture of Nigeria, and we went out into the world so that whenever you heard a Nigerian name, it was synonymous with excellence. Whenever you heard a Nigerian name, it was synonymous with hard work. Whenever you heard a Nigerian name, you knew that education was paramount in the household. It wasn't just upbringing, it was a culture. It's an African culture. It is a Nigerian culture. So I don't tend to use this platform to focus on the issues that are not peculiar to Nigeria, the issues that are global issues that other countries also endure, but to focus on the glory of what Nigeria is. I am a testament to that. born and raised here. I took the culture. I look at the world in a dual vision. I'm a product of the American dream. I'm the product of my Nigerian parents' prayers. And I understood that wherever I go, I was a representative not only of my home, but of my other home, right? Nigerian home. And that when I would walk into meetings and when I would be the youngest person on the board or the youngest faculty or the only woman of color, I knew that there was more things that I had to represent than just myself or just my qualifications or just where I've been at. There was a generation that was just like me, first generations who were just like me, who were born here in the United States, who also had that call to duty. There's a part in that anthem, in our national anthem, that says, it is a great gain to be able to pass the flag to future generations without stain. And one thing I want to say is that, you know, the generation that we have now is a different generation. They're not the generation of the 60s, of the 70s, of the 80s, or of the 90s. We are a generation with so many things that are at our disposal, a generation that is exposed to the many global issues that are out there, a generation, if tapped into, can be the human capital of the world. That is what we have been able to do. So the brain gain that all the other countries have experienced by Nigerians in diaspora is one of our glories. That is the new turning point. That is what Toby Amosun, who is the fastest hurdler in the world, I look at her with almost symbolic as a baton, basically saying, here's the baton to the next generation. How will you rewrite the new future? How will you patch or make things or be the bridge back home? How will you be able to change some of the global narratives that are there? Any issues that the country face, I always say they're not peculiar to Nigeria. They're not the only story of Nigeria. Chimamanda Adichie said, always beware of the danger of a single story. The ability to pick up your phone and only hear negative news. The cynicism that often comes about with inundated with the things that are going wrong. Can we take today to focus on what has went right? Can we take a day to focus on the things that we have accomplished as a country? There's nowhere in the world that you will not see, even in high positions, a Nigerian that is there. There is not one person that you can't account to that doesn't have a medal or recognition of the highest degree that comes from our homeland. Those are things that are glorious, despite the checkered history, despite whatever issues they may face. We are the ambassadors. And I often plead unto the young people who are the first generations Nigerians to also understand that you too have a call to duty. That when we sing that national anthem, when you sing the American national anthem, you remember your own anthem, the anthem of your parents, the struggles that they also went to have you here, to raise you here. Now you are afforded with this exposure, with the opportunity, and what will you do with it? Our accomplishments are not just our own. We have a responsibility to ensure that the next generation is trained to be the leaders that we need.
Many thanks, Dr. Yetunde. You are indeed our #1 ambassador. Now, as the general election approaches, Nigerians in the diaspora are not going to vote as they have not been accorded voting rights. Please take a listen to their messages.
Happy New Year to our chairman, NITCOM, and to everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity, NITCOM TV. Last year, the chapter had a very good ending. We got the best award for the best chapter in Europe. Thank you very much for that recognition. Several of our members were awarded, given several awards within the United Kingdom as well. We're hoping that this year we would do the same. This year is a bit different because of the elections. It's a critical year, and we have the elections coming up next month. We all know that without our PVCs, we will not be able to vote. And most importantly, us living in the diaspora, it is very important that we participate. If we don't participate, how are we going to get that bill passed? If we're asking for the right to vote and be voted for, it is very important that we get involved and participate in this process, because only in participating that bill this year with a new administration will be passed. This year we look forward to a week in Nigeria. We have carried out these projects for over 4 years. We're looking forward to more collaboration and partnership with NIDCAM. We're coming in again for a week in Nigeria to celebrate Diaspora Day on the 25th of July. We hope that this year we'll be more involved and then more engaged. We look forward to a free and fair, transparent elections.
My message to fellow Nigerians in 2023 is to encourage all of us to help continue and strengthen democracy. And my second advice in 2023 is to be our brothers keepers, our brothers and sisters keepers. Because if we don't do it, nobody else will do it. And my third advice is for all of us Nigerians to find a way. I know it is difficult during these harsh economic times to eschew corruption. Corruptions in all forms. May it be, nepotism, may it be, bribe taking and bribe giving, so that our country could really take its place among the leading nations of the world. The part B of my advice is that because 2023 is an election year, I would, strongly urge all our people who are voting, who haven't gotten their PVCs, to go get it before the cut off the deadline set by the INEC. And if you get your PVC and you intend to vote, make sure that you protect and guide your vote so that it can be counted. Finally, we need to follow the advice of His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, who advised all of us to vote for credible and honest candidates. And may God bless Nigeria. May God bless you all. Thank you.
It is my wish to wish my country, my beloved country, Happy New Year. And I also wish you the best in the upcoming general election, February 2023. Again, as I've always said, that the Malaysia developed, India developed by the strength of their diaspora, and Nigeria is blessed by such strength and should be leveraged. It is quite unfortunate that we're not going to be voting from the diaspora at this time. It is my will and my belief that we will be voting next time around. Nigeria is my country. And everywhere we go, the home is the best. And I want you people to make that home the best, so that we, the diasporas, can begin to come back home and bring the much needed development. Again, I'll be voting. Come February, I'll be voting. And here's my PVC card that I'll be voting. I made an effort to come back home and register, and I'll also participate in the electoral process. It's a good thing. May God bless us. May God bless Nigeria.
Greetings, my fellow citizens, and a happy new year. Thank God we're able to make it to the year 2023. Not every citizen you saw in the year 2022 survived to see the year 2023. So it's something to be grateful to the Almighty. This year 2023 is a year that is pregnant with so much promises for our nation. This is a year we have to make sure we go to the polls to elect the right people who will manage the economy of our great nation. Happy New Year 2023. You can only make it happy if you do the right thing. Thank you and God bless.
I want to wish you and your family the best of 2023, which I believe you're already having by now. I also want to use this opportunity to say a very big thank you to all the Nigerians, especially the youth, who has been giving in their time to make sure the upcoming election goes in very smooth proceedings and very effectively.
I want to use this season to wish you all a happy new year. I know it has not been easy for all of us, both home and abroad, but we thank God we all survive it. And quickly, I want to use this moment to employ all of you back at home to make sure you go get your PVC and vote. Not only vote, but vote the right people. It is a pity those of us abroad can't vote now, and that is why we're taking our time to encourage you guys to make sure you go vote. Vote and vote the right people.
Here is wishing every Nigerian a happy, prosperous New Year. May God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you all for your goodwill messages. Now let's take a quick break with Boy Alinko leading.
Not so fast. Look, I'm tired. I want to get out of this country on greener pastures.
Just calm down for a moment. Please sit down.
Do you have a job where you're going to? No, but someone is arranging,
Listen, Alinko. Checking out of this country without proper planning means one thing. Unimaginable begin.
Eh?
You know, I've been in the diaspora, but legitimately doing great things at home and abroad. As I've been saying, without the proper footing abroad, the risk is not worth it. Listen, Alinko, it's better to be home than be trapped abroad, or you will end up in prison.
If you must travel, travel legitimately. Ambassador Obinna Onowu, Nigeria's ambassador to the Kingdom of Belgium and head of delegation to the European Union and Organization of African, Caribbean and Pacific States, OACPS, on Wednesday deposited Nigeria's instrument of accession to the revised Georgetown Agreement of the OACPS. With the deposit of the instruments of accession by Ambassador Onowu, Nigeria now becomes a party to the revised Georgetown Agreement. The organization OACPS is a grouping of 79 African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries with a special relationship with the European Union. Its main purpose is to support the sustainable development of its member states through development cooperation, South-South, North-South, and triangular partnerships. Nigeria, a major contributor to the budget of OACPS, and the organization recognizes the potential of the diaspora to promote inclusive development and structural social change in OACPS member states, hence the interest of both sides in the effective and sustainable engagement of OACPS diaspora. In this connection, the OACPS has designated Honorable Dr. Abike Dabiri Arawa, Chairman CEO of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, as the champion of diaspora. At the summit of the OACPS in Luanda, Angola, from the 6th to the 9th December 2022, heads of state and government endorsed Nigeria's offer to host a Center of Excellence on Diaspora in Abuja. The federal government of Nigeria is also collaborating with the Secretariat of the OACPS to organize an international conference on diaspora in Abuja this year. This meeting will bring stakeholders across 3 continents to Abuja to share experiences on diaspora engagement issues. The African, Caribbean and Pacific States, ACP, now OACPS, was established on 6th June 1975 under the instrument of the Georgetown Agreement. The agreement was revised on the 1st of April 2020 to effect the transformation of ACP into the OACPS on 5th of April 2020. It could be recalled that the OACPS delegation, facilitated by Ambassador Obinna Onowu, visited Nigeria and had far-reaching conversations with the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, in Abuja. Today, Nigeria becomes a party to the revised Georgetown Agreement. Now to our health segment with our ANPA doctor. Enjoy the health talk.
So sickle cell disease is an inherited blood cell disorder, specifically red blood cell. So in your body, you have white blood cells that help prevent infection. You have platelets that help prevent injury, to help you to heal. And then you have red blood cells, which supply oxygen throughout your body. In a person without sickle cell disease, their red blood cells are perfectly round and flexible, so they can move through the body without any issues. A person with sickle cell disease, the red blood cells are sickled or crescent shape, given the name of the disease, and they have problems traveling through different sizes or different blood vessels of different sizes. So it can really impact your major organs. It can cause problems involving swelling of the lower extremities and the hands. It can cause organ damage to your kidneys. It can cause stroke. It can cause heart disease. So it makes a major impact, especially people with ethnic connections to Africa, the Middle East, the Mediterranean Basin, and India.
How is sickle cell disease diagnosed?
It's really easy to diagnose. It's a simple blood test. It can be done at a lab or even at a point of care center. In more developed countries like the United States, we do screenings on newborn babies as part of the state's newborn screening program. That way you can identify a person or a baby with sickle cell disease right within a few days of life, even within a week maximum. In other parts of the world, particularly Nigeria, I've heard there's certain hurdles in terms of trying to get a program that can do the same thing and get the same results.
What are some health interventions used to treat sickle cell disease?
So initially, especially if you identify a baby within a few days of life, the easiest intervention is giving penicillin, which is an antibiotic geared toward preventing infections. When you have sickle cell disease, you're predisposed or vulnerable to certain bacteria that's in the community. Things like strep, things like staph, those can predispose a person with sickle cell disease to very serious problems and hospitalizations. The other things we try to do is give immunizations to help prevent those types of infections. More heroically, there's blood transfusions. So remember, the disease hinges around those bad red blood cells. A blood transfusion from a healthy person into a person with sickle cell disease can help alleviate their symptoms. And finally, probably the most heroic is bone marrow transfer, or bone marrow transplant. Basically, it kind of just resets the blueprint of how your body produces red blood cells.
Many thanks, ANPA. And now over to our diasporan of the moment.
Our diaspora of the moment is Ademilola Lola Odujere. Lola is a British-born Nigerian aircraft pilot who was born in South London and moved to Nigeria at a young age. When he was 20 years old, he qualified for his private pilot license, PPL, in 19 days. Lola was trained in the UK and the United States, flying for Arik Air for 5 years before working for Air Djibouti. Since earning his commercial license in 2011, Lola has logged over 4,000 hours as a commercial Boeing 737 pilot. Ademilola completed his one-man, one-plane expedition on March 29, 2017. In completing his journey, he became the first African and the 9th British pilot to fly around the world solo. He is one of only 117 people in the world to have achieved this. More people have currently flown into space than have flown around the world solo. The flight was part of Project Transcend, a foundation that aims to inspire young people in order to achieve their goals regardless of their personal circumstances. At age 38, he began his journey, which he has been planning since 2014. He flew for 9 months, stopping in more than 15 countries on 5 continents. Lola flew from Washington to Canada via John F. Kennedy International Airport, then to Iceland, Scotland, England, Valencia, Malta, Egypt, Djibouti, Oman, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Thailand. In 2017, he became the first African pilot in history to fly solo around the world. Congratulations, Lola. We celebrate you as our diaspora of the moment.
Many thanks for your time with us on today's episode of The Diaspora. The year is still new, so Happy New Year. And I remain your host, Koinsela Adetumbi. See you same time next week. Bye for now.
NTA Tuesday Live, analytical, in-depth, educative, and interactive on national issues, accommodating all sides of opinion.
We as a people have understood that we have to fight corruption before it kills or bites us back.
Poverty has a financial index, so it should be fought also with a financial weapon linked to the social investments program. It has been a very courageous battle. Tuesday Live, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Join us.
We'll be looking at snacks from different parts of the country. Some of these snacks have been able to migrate from their native lands and have affected our taste buds. These snacks have gotten nationwide approval. Let's start with a snack made from beans. Known in English as bean cake, this quick meal has gained nationwide traction. I'm talking about the popular akara, as it is known in the south, or kose in the north. It can be eaten with another well-known mixture called pap, also known as akamu or ogi in the southwest, or cocoa in the north. Groundnut, popularly grown in the north, is a snack, eaten cooked or roasted. Groundnut, when mashed with pepper, is eaten with garden egg at special occasions in the southeast. When roasted, it can be eaten with other snacks like gari, popcorn, or roasted plantain. Groundnut can also be made into kulikuli, a groundnut paste, which is then baked with different ingredients to give it a desired taste. In whatever form you take it, it is very satisfying. Corn is another readily available snack in streets across the country. It can either be roasted on charcoal fire or boiled with or without the outer layer, then eaten alone, and sometimes with coconut or African pear called ube in the southeast. Roasted beef, known as suya, is another nationally accepted snack. Originating from northern Nigeria, suya is achieved in a slow and tenderly cooked method over charcoal fire while being seasoned with specially prepared spices. It is mostly sold by northerners in the evenings and at night time along street corners. Finally, we end with kola nut, said to be grown in the southwest, consumed in the north, and celebrated in the southeast. Kola nut has been able to traverse the whole country. It is a good source of caffeine, which may be why long-distance drivers have it handy when on the road.
Growing up as a child, there is an admiration to want to be like dad, mom, or even a famous actor. But as one ages, more choices begin to emerge due to various social factors and developments. As much as it is admirable to want to be like someone, it is important to understand one's personal dream and purpose in life. Today, famous people all around the world have huge following of fans who love their lives and desire to emulate them. But there's more to modeling after than just copy and paste. Oshodi, a local government in Lagos, has a reputation for children born in this neighborhood. If not closely monitored, many believe could engage in petty theft and grow to be notorious hoodlums. Today, the narrative is being rewritten for these children living in the underprivileged.
Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Olajide Bello, and you can follow these news live on our website nta.ng/live and NTA News Now on other social media platforms displayed on the screen. President Muhammadu Buhari has written to Senate seeking the confirmation of 7 members of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports as Senate reconvened from recess.
After the Christmas and New Year recess, Senate is back to business. With 5 months left to wind up, the Ninth Assembly has now commenced preparations for landing. President of the Senate Ahmad Lawan welcomed his colleagues with emphasis on sustained commitment to national duty. He advised Nigerians to take advantage of the new Electoral Act and fully participate in the ongoing electoral process.
So I urge Nigerians to take advantage, to take the opportunity of an Electoral Act that will ensure every single vote counts. I want to urge INEC to ensure that he stays on top of his game. No excuses. Our security agencies have assured everyone in this country that they will ensure that the environment is secured and safe for citizens to go out and vote without any let or hindrance.
Senate received list of 7 nominees for screening and confirmation as members of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission.
It is my hope that the distinguished Senate will consider and confirm the appointment in the usual expeditious manner.
Senate leader Ibrahim Gobir briefed Senate on the presidential request on the ways and means before the Senate.
The Minister of Finance and also the Governor of Central Bank, but unfortunately, we were not able to get the information that we are looking for. Why? Because the 2 of them were out of town.
The National Assembly or the Senate is prepared to consider the request, but we must have the necessary information because we want to be guided.
A bill that seeks to strengthen railway security has passed first reading at the Senate. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
And from the Red Chambers now to the Green Chambers, the Speaker's House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has stressed that political actors should ensure that politics-related conversations seek to unite the people by highlighting an agenda of shared prosperity, social development and respect for humanity. This is against the backdrop of increased politics-related attacks in parts of the country. The Speaker at the resumption of plenary after the end of year break noted that the nature of political conversations, particularly in the lead-up to elections, determine electoral outcomes and quality of governance. He therefore urged Nigerians to unite and ensure that the dangerous trend of insecurity and attacks on political actors do not lead to circumstances that threaten the forthcoming general election.
As leaders in our various communities and constituencies, we must adopt a politics of accommodation and brotherhood. And we must ensure that no insecurity threatening our country's peace can be attributed to our actions or utterances. This is our constitutional obligation and a moral duty from which we must not deviate.
Available records indicate that cases of sexual and gender-based violence are on the rise in Nigeria, but this would soon be curtailed as efforts to stem the tide and ensuring substantial justice for victims are underway. Following the meeting of the Attorney General Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami with judges and prosecutors of rape cases in Abuja, Olabode Arewa reports.
For last year, we had a total of 1,342 reported cases. So we had 907 walk-ins and 435 through our call center.
That was the Director General, National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, reeling out the statistics and challenges of handling cases of sexual and gender-based violence in the country. These are acts perpetrated against the female folk and underage boys on the basis of gender, leaving them with physical and mental scars for life. Sometimes the perpetrators escape the long arms of the law. To address this, the Justice Ministry, judges and prosecutors involved in handling rape and assault-related cases are working to familiarize themselves with the practice direction and trial of sexual and gender-based violence cases.
The judiciary plays a critical role in the criminal justice response to SGVV. It is uniquely placed to ensure that relevant criminal laws on SGVV are interpreted and applied with gender sensitivity and in appropriate language.
At the moment, NAPTIP is championing the use of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act as the key legal instrument to tackle rape, having identified schools and trafficking of persons abroad as notorious platforms for SGBV occurrence.
While convicted perpetrators are only 33. That is unacceptable, and I'm pleading with a very, very loud voice and tears in my eyes to all the judges here and your colleagues out there that something has to be done, and very fast.
Going forward, the forum pledged collaboration towards deploying forensic investigations to ensure rape perpetrators do not escape the law again. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has sworn in Justice Iyabode Yerima as the acting Chief Judge of the state, and the swearing in of Justice Yerima became imperative after Justice Munta Abimbola bowed out of the bench in great honors. Ayomiku Ajibola has the details.
Acting Chief Judge of Oyo State, Justice Iyabode Yerima, taking an oath of office. Governor Seyi Makinde stressed the need for the three arms of government to collaborate to deliver good governance, reiterating that the appointment of the acting chief judge was in recognition of her illustrious and unblemished career at the bar. The governor said he believed the acting chief judge will maintain her predecessor's high judicial performance.
Let me again reaffirm our administration's commitments to continue to work with all other arms of government to ensure a system of governance in your states.
Every resource given and allotted to the judiciary would be judiciously utilized for the benefit of justice.
Born on the 8th September 1958 in Ibadan, Honorable Justice Iyabode Shubulade Yerima grabbed a Bachelor of Arts in English and Philosophy from the University of Ife, Ile-Ife, in 1981. She proceeded to the University of Buckingham, United Kingdom, where she obtained her LLB in 1984 and attended the Nigerian Law School, Lagos, between 1984 and 1985. It will be recalled that the former Chief Judge of the state, Mukhtar Abimbola, retired from the state service last week after a meritorious service. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
Mobilizing action for a climate-positive lifestyle is at the core of the agenda as leaders in public and private spheres converge on Davos for the 2023 World Economic Forum. On NTA Fineface reports.
Climate change is an undeniable reality. Current lifestyles and practices are not helping the pursuit of a downward curve in the climate trajectory. I See You, the concert, opens the 2023 World Economic Forum as a cultural message of unity and collaboration. It is a call to action to world leaders and policymakers to implement appropriate and required agreements to protect and preserve natural ecosystems, especially the coral reefs of the northern Red Sea.
Rapid ocean warming poses a risk to the survival of coral reefs, but a series of recent studies revealed that corals in the northern Red Sea, one of the longest living reefs of the world, are extremely resistant to the rising water temperature. The discovery means that this major coral reef ecosystem has the best chances of survival until the end of the century and beyond. But it implies that the countries of the region work together in harmony, in goodwill, and in trust. It could serve as an example how we all can work together to protect other natural treasures of this world.
The forum seeks, among other issues, to promote changes needed to restore the health of the planet and protect the well-being of current and future generations. Omengie Fineface, NTA News.
Time to join Adiola in Lagos for more on Nationwide. Hello, Adiola.
Najide. The Nigeria Police continues in its enlightenment program and discussion on how to address the grey areas and tighten loose ends in the security framework initiated to ensure that the nation have a peaceful general elections in February. This time, the security agency had a meeting with heads, members and representatives of political parties, community and other stakeholders. Larry Belay was at the meeting and brings details.
The Nigeria Police Force, with its sister agencies Roundtable Talk, is a means of fine-tuning the security framework on the incoming general election with stakeholders in the nation's polity, this time with actors in political community of Lagos State and the nation's electoral umpire, INEC. Issues which include political violence, intolerance, hate speech, political campaigns, as stated in the Constitution, were extensively discussed.
Our expectation is that in the next few weeks before the election, we are going to have a very peaceful environment.
The interactive session of the meeting gave room for participants to ask questions, share their views, and propose solutions to resolve knotty issues.
This will actually come in making our election a peaceful one in Lagos.
I am satisfied that it is a good beginning.
And what I have observed, I think we too need to be proactive to give them information.
The police said discussions such as this will be ongoing as part of preparation for the elections. The security agencies also urged Nigerians to play according to the rules, as they will not hesitate to bring the law to bear on any action against the law. In Lagos, Larry Pulayi, NTA News.
The unpatriotic practice of vote merchandising, where prospective voters sell their votes in exchange for material gains, may not play out in the 2023 general elections, as more Nigerians express the desire to turn a new leaf and vote their conscience. This is coming from a cross-section of Nigerians who spoke to Abolade Salami on their readiness for the polls.
A few weeks from now, Nigerians will once again march to the poll to exercise their franchise to determine who occupies Asowok Villa and other elected seats for another period of 4 years. While many view the coming polls as an exercise that will serve as affirmation of Nigeria's electoral democracy, others say it will be an opportunity for a reset, nurturing the hope that a new leadership will commit to socio-political reforms. But as they count down to the elections, what is going on in the mind of an average eligible Nigerian?
I think, in my opinion, the Nigerians are prepared. INEC has sent the timetable and they have been following it sequentially.
I believe Nigerians are prepared. If you look at the amount of reaction on social media, if you have to use that as a yardstick to measure level of preparedness, I think Nigerians are really ready.
Some respondents are of the view that for the successful conduct of the election, all concerned bodies must close ranks to ensure that the mistakes noticed in previous elections do not reoccur.
That government is able to make the environment, conducive for voters to go out and vote. We come against thuggery, we come against fighting, we come against rigging, we come against all of those things that will make the election not to be free and fair.
The main contenders, what are the antecedents, what are they promising, what can they do, what do you see them, what do you perceive them to be? It's not for us to vote people we don't want now and then we begin to complain later.
Meanwhile, on its part, the Independent National Electoral Commission has on several occasions promised to deliver a credible election, and the Commission is walking the talk by engaging with other critical stakeholders. The decision of the electoral body to extend the deadline for previous election by another 1 week also struck the right chord with Nigerians who said it will further allow more prospective voters to exercise their franchise. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Those are the stories from Lagos for now. Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. We shall take some messages now, and when we return, Nationwide will continue with Felicia Angels. To stay with us.
Nigeria now we party, everything na the party, now one man be a everything na the party, now one man be a the president we need, the president we go for.
People of Nigeria don't talk up. Them say na Asiwaju Bola Tinubu they want as president of Nigeria. Our country people get many reasons wey make them all agree say na Asiwaju Bola Tinubu dem choose for this president election. Yes, so Bola Tinubu na man wey sabi. Anything wey he put in hand, he dey work wella. He do better work for Lagos State when he be governor. Till today, Lagos people still dey enjoy from all the better things wey Diaspora for Lagos. People of Nigeria, he good to make you vote for who sabi. If e come be so, make we all come out for election day and vote Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president of Nigeria. Vote Senator Kashim Shettima as vice president. Vote APC, the party with the broom.
Vote the president we go for.
What are we doing as a nation to first of all settle our teeming populace, especially NTA's political package, with a third eye on the nation's political scene? I'm Patriotic. Welcome.
You have to be very careful giving space to people who are previously sponsored to further the agenda of some other groups.
A lot of questions. Close those sessions. Some of these issues, some of the problems bedeviling the over. In fact, between June 1st and July 17th, 19.something billion has left the coffers of the NDC.
I can say my constituency, they need everything because we don't have anything.
The truth untold. There is no one
democracy. We initiated due process. We created the EFCC and ICPC. We brought Nigeria out of debt by achieving $18 billion worth of relief and $30 billion overall reduction. We revived the rail system. We upgraded agriculture. We brought in the mobile phone and digitalized Nigeria. Under the PDP, the Nigerian economy was the strongest in Africa. Though Nigerians made their choice, today we all know better. Nigerians, do not despair. Hope is in the horizon. We are putting in the work and refreshing our drive to rescue and rebuild Nigeria. Together, let's make it happen. PDP. Power to the people.
On to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Welcome to Jos. We begin with electoral matters following the extension of the collection of permanent voters card by 8 days. Plateau State Independent National Electoral Commission is asking eligible voters to leverage on the extension to collect their cards ahead of the 2023 general elections. Ijoma Zemena has details.
Eligible voters in Plateau State have been trooping to collection centers at the ward level to collect their voter cards since the directive by the Independent National Electoral Commission to do so. They describe the initiative as good as it has put to an end the congestion in the Commission's offices.
Actually prefer if they would even step it down to the polling unit, because this our ward here, the polling ward, we are actually lonely here. So even though the process is smooth, but we still have a lot of people outside waiting. The ones that are Christian, like have your number, you follow your time,
Plateau State Resident Electoral Commissioner describes the exercise as peaceful and urged registrants to leverage on the extension to collect their cards.
We don't want to take chances. We want to do everything possible on our part to make sure that we are fair to everyone, and we have given sufficient time, and we have given sufficient opportunity for anyone not to be excluded from participating in this election.
Following the extension, collection at ward level ends on Sunday 22nd January 2023, while local government level resumes on Monday 23rd to Sunday 29th January 2023. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemina, NTA News.
Accolades reigned almost ceaselessly when the immediate past General Officer Commanding 3 Armored Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven Major General Ibrahim Ali was hosted to a befitting dinner at the Rhino Officers Mess in Rukuba. Caleb Gochin reports that Major General Ibrahim Ali is now the new theatre commander, Operation Hadin Kai, Maiduguri.
It was brief but eventful as colleagues, friends and family, as well as close associates, came together to partake in the dinner and wish the amiable officer well in his next assignment. General Ali, who has overseen the affairs of the 3 Division and the Operation Safe Haven for the past 1.5 years, is being described as one of the finest commanders ever posted to Jos. No one wanted to be left out of the accolades, as each had something positive to say about the general.
We miss your calmness, your gentleness, your smiles, and your growth. He carried on alone and developed a personal relationship with all of us.
Those who worked with Major General Ali describe him as a dedicated and hard-working officer who discharged his duties with all diligence. Major General Ali is posted to Maiduguri as the new theatre commander, Operation Hadin Kai.
I am proud today
Many communities have returned to their ancestral communities. Youths are more united through sporting activities, and community leaders are taking a lead in the security and peace of their respective communities, including the Fulanis, that have also formed vigilante groups to deal with bad acts in our communities.
At the dinner were retired and serving military officers, heads of security agencies in Plateau, and heads of media. Gochin, NTA News.
That does it from Jos. Olajide is back to you in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Many thanks, Felicia. And moving on, President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates with former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Chief Emeka Anyako, as he turns 90 January 18, 2023. In a letter signed personally by President Buhari, states that the worthy contributions of Chief Emeka Anyako made the development of the country, starting out as a young foreigner service officer and reaching the pinnacle of his career as Secretary General of the Commonwealth through vision and diligence, and consistently projecting Nigeria as a great nation, gives the President joy and delight as he warmly rejoices with the seasoned diplomat. President Buhari appreciates the celebrant for his statesmanship and for using this extensive network of international friends to support the country's efforts in deepening good governance, democracy, and sustainable development. He prays for more grace in good health and sound mind as he rejoices with the celebrant and his family. The APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu has tasked the party's election planning and monitoring team to protect the party's votes in order to ensure victory in the coming elections. At a trainer session in Abuja, Tinubu appreciated their volunteerism, noting that the party's success and his victory in the election greatly rest on their commitment to the assignments given to them. The APC presidential candidate urged the election monitors to be vigilant and do their best to ensure that the party's votes across the country are secured. In a statement from his media office, Tinubu reminded the participants that he seeks to govern the country because he is well prepared with track record, good and excellent policies and plans better than those of the opponents to lead the nation to its best destiny. The build-up to this year's general elections continues. Wife of the Nasarawa State Governor, Salifat Abdullahi Soleh, is advocating the sustenance of the legacies of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration by voting all the candidates of the APC. The governor's wife made the advocacy at the closing of the statewide campaign launched by her to get more women into democratic process. Abigail Washi reports.
With a view to consolidating on the gains of the present administration, women from the northern and western senatorial districts came together with a firm resolve that APC has proven it has all it takes to make the nation great with the gains of democracy on ground. To this end, they therefore enjoined all lovers of democracy to vote for accountability, economic prosperity, and progress, which are hallmarks of the APC.
APC is already the party people are talking about, because everybody who wants development know that APC is restructuring Nigeria. Women, I am appealing to you to come out after collecting your PPC to ensure that we go out there to cast our vote.
Wife of Nasarawa State Governor Salifat Abdullahi Soleh commends stakeholders and supporters of the party for the successful statewide campaign, which she says portends victory for the party in the upcoming polls and by extension sustaining the gains made so far. The governor's wife and her entourage also paid homage on the Emir of Kefi as well as that of Nasarawa Emirate Council, where they got royal blessings. In Lafia, Abigail Bashi, NTA News.
And still talking politics, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has appealed to the people of Ogba Egbema and Doni local government area to double their support for all candidates of the People's Democratic Party in the forthcoming general elections to ensure a landslide victory. The governor made the appeal while addressing the people at the headquarters of the council area to kick off the local government campaigns in the state. Ogede Yekweri completes the story.
It was a carnival of sorts as people of Oba Idemandoni local government area thanked the road to herald the arrival of Governor Nyesom Wike, who is in the area to flag off the PDP campaign for the forthcoming general elections. The show of solidarity and support, according to the people, emanates from the developmental projects executed in the area and adoption of one of their own as the running mate of a PDP governorship candidate.
Omega is PDP. PDP is Omega. And that is as regards the governorship election, as regards the senatorial election, as regards the House of Reps election, as regards the House of Assembly election. We have come here today to campaign for you to give them the support you gave to us when we visited you in 2014 to 2015, when we came in 2019. You gave us the support. We have come back in 2023 for God to consolidate with what we have done.
We have a reason for tagging this team consolidation. It is a special word that will bring further development in Oba, and what we stand for is good governance.
When I was the Honorable Commissioner of Education, under our brother, His Excellency, Sir Dr. Peter Odili, by God's grace, I impacted in all the
high point is the presentation of flags to the party candidates in the state. The governor had earlier paid a visit to the Oba's palace, Nwachukwu Obi III, where they received his royal blessings for the campaigns. In Omoko, Ogede Yekweri, NTA News.
Nigeria's next president has been described as one who must be well experienced in governance, grounded in knowledge of the nation and possess leadership skills. This was the submission of some politicians who defected from the New Nigeria People's Party to the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Bauchi State. Bulak Afsa reports that thousands of members defected.
From one party to another is no longer news because during electioneering, politicians, electorates realign their allegiance for their preferred candidate or party. But defection could be news when party executives and members defect in their numbers. Former National Zonal Secretary of New Nigerian People's Party (NNPP) Northeast, Babayo Liman, maintained that the defection from the NNPP to PDP is because they believe in the candidature of Atiku Abubakar, given his track record and abilities.
I, with my more than 3.5 million members of Concosia and NNPP members in the northeast of Nigeria, decided to defect to PDP to support His Excellency Atiku Abubakar. He is the only person that can bring sanity, that can bring development to this nation.
The defectors were welcomed to the fold by officials of the People's Democratic Party in Bauchi. Bulak Afsa, NTA News.
And Agatha is standing by in our Benin Network Center with trending stories. Over to you, Agatha.
Thank you, Olajide. A warm welcome to Benin. As part of efforts to contain spread of Lassa fever in Edo State, Acting Chief Medical Director, Edo Specialist Teaching Hospital ISTH, Professor Ruben Efedeyi, has warned residents to stay away from bush burning, especially during the farming season, to stop the spread of the virus causing Lassa fever. He said this while reacting to cases of Lassa fever in some communities in Edo Central.
Findings have shown that about 100,000 to 300,000 infections of Lassa fever occur annually. Again, 1 in 5 cases come up with severe fever. In Edo State, Lassa fever has been a perennial occurrence, especially during dry season. However, between December 2022 till date, there have been reports of Lassa fever spread, but without record of mortality.
That rat is a special rat. It's a multi-mammal, that means a rat with multiple breasts, easily frightening rat, because when there's even light,
in darkness, they like to just pass your rain and pieces into your food. That type of right, and it's only very domestic, and the very your house, they're only moving around. People come and eat your food. So when you cover your food, you need to eat. You also know about this and make sure that you don't eat or cook food or cook rats. People eat rats. Wash your hands very well. Also, when you develop symptoms of disease, you come early to the hospital for diagnosis because we do our test every day.
Lassa fever is usually prevalent in dry season due to increase in bush burning. In Ira, Edo State, Informa Okafor, NTA News.
Away from health, the Oba of Benin, His Royal Majesty Ewa II, has commended the federal, state and security agents for their efforts in rescuing some victims of Igwaben train attack. The Benin monarch gave the commendation during the 2023 Universal Week of Prayer organized by the Benin City Christian community, which rounded off in his palace.
The monarch interceded to God and his ancestors to avert bloodshed in Nigeria and Edo State before, during and after the 2023 general elections. He prayed and condoles family members of a police officer, BSP Michael Adams, who lost his life while on duty after a successful rescue operation of some kidnapped victims in Igwebe. He also called for prayers on leaders in the state for God to use them as agents of peace, who will always do the right thing and seek the growth of the kingdom. Immediate past president of Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, Reverend Felix Omobide, acknowledged the unique roles of tradition in the Bible, declaring that God sets up kings. In Benin, Eugene BBC, NTA News.
And that's our package. Lajide has more on Nationwide.
Our country want better. Go do one for us. For a better Nigeria, good life income. Now you want to. Now you we need. People of Nigeria, they jolly for the better than one shell for we country. So ready to put Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as the next president of Nigeria. Our people don't look the matter well. Only Bola Tinubu don't do what everybody can see. The experience where you go fit use take make our country better, make life sweet for we and our pikin them. But Tinubu don't gather better plan to chase down work for we youth, better school, the security of lives and property, unity and peace of all the country people of Nigeria. But these and many other better things where in don't vocalize. It could make we all vote Bola Tinubu president of Nigeria. Vote Shetima as vice president. Vote NPC, the party where show groom.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponent do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
you join us here on Nationwide. We begin political matters as Jigawa State PDP governorship candidate Mustafa Sule Lamido has flagged off campaign to the local government areas in the state with Kiri Kasama as the first port of call. He assured the electorate of planned action to curb the menace of flooding in the state if elected governor in the forthcoming general elections. Awal Muhammad Kazauri reports.
The governorship candidate Mustafa Sule Lamido paid homage to district heads in Krika, Samma and Guri local governments to seek royal blessing before proceeding for campaigns and rallies. The PDP candidate and his campaign team, who passed the night in Terapu village, moved from one community to another, conversing for support of the dwellers. The Central Hakim Dutse Mustafa Sule Lamido said passing the night with the local, as he previously did in Birniwa during his zonal campaign, is a show of respect and love for people and to enable him feel the pulse of the residents as regard to their living conditions.
As long as the canvassing support and vote for the people, we have to go down to the grassroots and understand what they are facing and relate to them so that you know what you are going to face when you come into power.
At the campaign venue, Mustafa Sule Lamido thanked the people for the warm reception accorded him and his campaign entourage. He said if elected, his government will work towards making their communities safe and prosperous. Party stalwart at the rally said PDP remains the party to beat at the general elections given the level of support the party enjoy in the state and the recent defection of people from other political parties into the PDP.
Anybody contesting for election in Jigawa said if he's not in PDP, let him forget about everything, because Jigawa has gone back to its true colors. Jigawa is now PDP and PDP only.
Director General of the PDP Campaign Council, Nasiru Umaruni, said the party has kick-started campaign activities in full swing, calling on the electorate to vote for PDP from top to bottom. From Dutse, Awal Muhammad Kazauri, NTA News.
Similarly, Southern Kaduna Christian Leaders Association has tasked communities within the area to vote for leaders irrespective of religious affiliations during the forthcoming general elections, and therefore vote for those who have strategic plans in addressing security and socio-economic challenges facing the area. Thus form part of the submission of various speakers during the 21st Southern Kaduna Prayer Summit. Game Court has the details. The
21st Prayer Summit with the theme Winds of Change is to unite the people in prayers for the restoration of Southern Kaduna. Chairman, Southern Kaduna Christian Leaders Association, Apostle Emmanuel Kore, urged the congregation to vote candidates who are in tune with the pains and security challenges of Southern Kaduna. He cautioned the people against voting on the basis of tribal or religious sentiments.
We have told our people that this year we won't vote en masse anyhow. We will vote deliberately by choice. People who will break that jinx for us and take us to the next level as a people. We are not voting according to religion. If it is a Muslim that will take us to the next level.
Earlier, the guest speaker, Anglican Bishop of Zonkwad Diocese, Reverend Jacob Kwashi, admonished Christians to forget the past and look unto God for intervention in the land.
2023, God is bringing winds of over Southern Kaduna, over Kaduna State, Nigeria.
In a prayer declaration, the founder, Living Faith Foundation, Reverend Joseph Olaya, said affliction and loss of lives and property has come to an end in Southern Kaduna. Worshippers at the summit prayed that the forthcoming general elections will bring good crop of leaders that will change Southern Kaduna narratives. Peak of the event was the rendition of songs of praises to God for a peaceful 2023 general elections. From Staffordshire, Kim Court, NTA News.
And Kim, what report conclude our package from here? Olajide, over to you.
Many thanks, Salamatu. And moving on, the fourth batch of the 2022 Christian pilgrimage have been airlifted to Israel and the Kingdom of Jordan. Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Christian Pilgrims Commission, Reverend Yakubu Pam, urged the pilgrims to pray for the successful conduct of the 2023 general elections. Omenka Amarachuku reports.
Christian pilgrims for the fourth batch of the 2022 pilgrimage are selected from Akwa Ibom and Delta states. The spiritual exercise to Holy Land is characterized by prayer for peace and harmonious coexistence of Nigerians.
The most important thing for the pilgrims to go for this exercise at this moment is to pray. And the prayer should center more beyond the success of the election, the unity of purpose, the unity of mind, that we have no any other country that will take us like Nigeria. Let religion, let ethnicity, sectionalism and whatever should not divide us. Let's stand strongly for the purpose of the existence of Nigeria as a country, and that will help our children, the next generation and the unborn generation, to come and praise us for standing together, that we have made a history.
The pilgrims, numbering more than 300, are expected to visit holy sites in Israel and the Kingdom of Jordan within the weeks of stay. In Abuja, Omega Machuku, NTA News.
And the State of Israel says it has concluded plans to allow direct flights from Nigeria to Tel Aviv. This is expected to commence in March this year. Let's join Musababa Aliyu for details from Jerusalem.
Israel, a country of less than 10 million people, is sitting on 250,000 hectares.
As small as the country is, it is ranked the world's fastest growing tourist destination, and Nigerians are among the millions of people that visit the country annually for religious, business, and tourism purposes. In spite of this, the bilateral trade between Nigeria and Israel remains low. However, the Deputy Director General African Department of Israel Foreign Affairs says the expected direct flights from Nigeria will further boost trade between the two countries.
Right? We are looking forward, and I think that with this new line of direct flight, it is going to take passengers from both Abuja and Lagos. It's going to serve not only Nigeria and Nigerians. I believe that it is going to serve also some of the neighbors.
Nigeria, renewable energy and education.
The fields of interest are becoming larger between our two countries. It includes also medicine, it includes education, it includes other fields as well.
We also did in Congo, we work together to with some local people and the Nigerian Ministry of Health, and we have distributed hundreds of thousands of reusable equipment for the medical staff.
Israel is also looking up to Nigeria and other African countries for support in the fight against security threats and terrorism. From Jerusalem, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Back home, the Ministry of Women Affairs has been appropriated the sum of 17.1 billion naira for the 2023 fiscal year. Women and gender correspondent Ngozi Technical reports that these represent a slight difference from last year's allocation for the Women Affairs Ministry.
With the 2022 budget of 35.749 billion naira, the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs embarked on several people-oriented projects revolving on the welfare of women, children, and vulnerable Nigerians, even at the grassroots. 8.4 billion naira was spent on women projects, empowering more than 82,000 women and girls, training 1,185 female artisans, among other milestones reached.
Mr. President is ensuring that our education is tailored towards skills. The Ministry of Women Affairs will continue to support young artisans like these ones so that we get more women empowered.
A breakdown of 2023 budget of 17.1 billion naira indicates that capital expenditure takes 13.6 billion naira, while personnel costs and total recurrent expenses are pegged at 1.06 and 1.5 billion naira respectively. More than 924 million naira mapped out for salaries and wages, whereas Total overhead cost remains at 452 million naira. Some gender experts speak on the implication of this.
The achievement we have made were not what having to increase and improve on them. It's supposed to be incremental in terms of access, in terms of positioning women, in terms of expanding programs, in terms of monitoring progress.
If women are able to have healthy and timed pregnancies, they have more income to better their families. So this is one way to better the health of Nigerians.
In order to build on the achievements of the past year, the women are hoping for a supplementary budget which they say will enable the ministry effectively live up to its mandates towards Nigerians. In Abuja, Ngozi Technical, NTA News.
A fair rating of less than 50% performance of 15 federal unity schools with FSTC Yaba and FGGC Umuahia among top 5 has been presented to the Federal Ministry of Education. Ikechukwu Ndukwe reports that the evaluation is the second in the series in less than 20 months.
Young Nigeria is the giant of Africa, but she is missing in the ladder of 10 countries with the best educational system in Africa, with 10.5 million out-of-school children between ages 4 to 14, according to UNICEF.
First and foremost is the one that is dealing with performance management system. As teachers in schools, you are supposed to teach. Are you teaching well? Do you even have enough teachers to teach? Are you even taking care of the students? Do you have enough classrooms for these students? Are your toilet facilities in good condition for people to use?
The presidency, through the SAFICOM, is injecting a service delivery orientation to attain acceptable and commendable status among government bodies.
The quick fixes, alternate means of power, such as solar and generator, and then to also power their water. Measures should be in place to eradicate bullying.
In his evaluation, SAFICOM rates staff attitude of 43%, professionalism 43%, while timeliness to classroom got 45%. SAFICOM applauded Federal Unity Schools for topping the list in the area of scoring highest in external examinations among secondary schools in Nigeria. The Federal Ministry of Education has already put mechanisms in place to check performances of principals in unity schools to up positive outcomes. Ikechukwu Ndukwe, NTA News.
The Center for Citizens with Disabilities (CCD) has called on state governments that are yet to domesticate the National Disability Law to do so as a demonstration of commitment to the welfare of persons with disabilities in the country. Executive Director of CCD David Anyele in a statement notes that 17 states are yet to domesticate the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act, which President Buhari assented to on the 17th of January 2019. While commending state governments that have so far passed versions of the disability law, the CCD says the 4th anniversary of the Act provides opportunity to remind governments at all levels and the private sector that the moratorium for full compliance to specific provisions of the Act will elapse in the next 12 months. The Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act provides for full integration of persons with disabilities into the society and ensures their education, health care and protection of their social, economic and civil rights. Now let's join George Gift for sports update.
President of the Nigerian Football Federation, Ibrahim Gusau, has commended the group of officiating officials who took charge of match day 1 of the Nigerian Premier Football League, saying they should sustain it through the season. Match day 1 of the 2022-23 NPFL season witnessed 4 away wins and 4 draws with only 2 home wins. The NFF boss underscored commitment of the present NFF administration to rebranding the domestic game and support a sustainable football economy that will be a delight to all football stakeholders. In African football, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) has reacted to the absence of defending champions Morocco at the ongoing Champions of African Nations Cup, better known as CHAN, in Algeria. Morocco failed to show up for the opening match against Sudan after their earlier threats to pull out of the tournament. The team was at the airport waiting for green lights from host Algeria to fly with Morocco Airlines into the country, but the Algerian government insisted on banning the airline. In grassroots things, Over 300 junior tennis players from various parts of the country are taking part in the Azimuth Open Junior Tennis Championship, which started off Monday at the Lagos Lawn Tennis Club. The Grassroots Developmental Tennis Tournament, which is the first major national open junior championship of the year, will last for 5 days. Focused on raising future world tennis champions, the competition is in 3 categories: under 12, 14, and 16 for boys and girls.
Ideally, as a country, we should have like 4 or 5 of these every year because it brings out a lot of kids that ordinarily would not be opportunity to be out. And that also shows you how far tennis is played across the country. This tournament will be able to select from and select players that want to represent this country.
In athletics, Nigerian sprinter Imabong Oko opened her 2023 campaign at the TTU Corky Classics in Texas, running a time of 53.51 seconds to win the 400 meters women. Imabong ran the fastest time across 6 heats, finishing ahead of Nanya Gay in 54.63 seconds. She's an amazing talent and a potential world champion. With sports updates, Gift George, NTA News.
And away from sports update, the remains of slain female lawyer Bolanle Rahim has been buried. Close-knitted family, friends and personal colleagues were present to honor her memory. While comforting the bereaved, pastor in charge of the Olive Tree Parish Redeemed Christian Church of God described the deceased as a true child of God who made positive impacts in the lives of many. Amid tears, the remains of Bolanle was finally laid to rest at the Vaults Garden in Ibejuleki. Called to bar in 2012, she died at the age of 41. She is survived by a parent, husband, and a daughter. As people continue to mourn her passing, they are hopeful that justice will prevail. And that's it on NTA Nationwide. Many thanks for being a part of it. Remember to join NTA in the fight against rape and rapists. I am Olajide Bello.